Before them stood the endless ocean. Behind them was the exhaustion of a failed search. And between the two stood the Vanara army, whose hope was slowly beginning to break. Mother Sita's location had been found. Lanka was across this very ocean. But reaching the other side now seemed almost impossible. The question was not only how vast the ocean was, the real question was whether Ram's mission would remain incomplete or be fulfilled. And in the middle of that silence sat one warrior who did not yet know that the next chapter of history would be written through him. But before crossing the ocean, whom did Hanuman remember? Which name awakened the sleeping fire within him? Let us enter that immortal moment when devotion and remembrance created a miracle among the Vanara army sitting on the edge of despair. Only moments earlier, the aged Sampati had revealed the secret. Mother Sita was in Lanka, in Ravana's Ashok Vadika. For one moment, hope awakened in every heart. Sita's location was now known. Ram's mission could move forward. But in the very next breath, every gaze turned toward the ocean, and that same hope began turning into fear. Reaching Mother Sita was not enough. They had to deliver Shri Ram's message to her, and then return safely with the news. Then one by one, the Vanara warriors began speaking of their strength. One said, "I can go this far." Another said, "I can go a little farther." But at the end of every answer, one weakness remained. Perhaps they could go, but return? No one had the confidence to return. The very task that had to be done for Shri Ram now stood before everyone's limits. They had strength, but not complete certainty. Angada said, "I can cross the ocean, but I am not certain that I will be able to return." Hearing this, the atmosphere became even more serious. It was now clear this task would not be completed by strength alone, but by divine trust. And then Jambavan's eyes fell upon the warrior, who was the strongest among them, yet sat the most quietly. Within Hanuman was a power greater than the ocean itself, but his humility was such that he considered himself only a simple servant. Jambavan stepped forward. There was no haste in his steps, because he knew this was not merely a moment of motivation, but a moment of remembrance. He said with affection, "Hanuman, why are you silent? Do you truly not recognize yourself?" Hanuman looked at Jambavan with humble eyes, as if saying, "I am only the servant of Shri Ram. Do you not remember the time when, as a child, you tried to seize the rising sun, thinking it was a fruit? That childhood act of yours was not ordinary. The gods had seen that this child was not merely playful. He possessed extraordinary power. The gods had blessed you with unmatched strength, incredible speed, and an ability that even time itself could not restrain. But a time also came when, by the words of the sages, you forgot your own power, so that when the right time arrived, someone would remind you. And Hanuman, that time has now arrived. This is the moment of your awakening. This ocean is not your limit. It has been waiting for you." Jamban's words began entering Hanuman's heart, like a lamp that had gone dim was being lit once again. Hanuman slowly stood up. His humility was still the same, but something within him had changed. Jamban said, "You are not merely powerful, Hanuman. You were born for Ram's work. The true meaning of your strength is service." And then, within Hanuman, the memory of his Lord arose. Shri Ram's face, his compassionate voice, and his hope. Now the question was no longer whether he could do it or not. Only one truth remained. This task belongs to my Lord. Hanuman remembered that priceless moment when Shri Ram had placed his ring into his hands with complete trust. It was not merely a ring, it was the Lord's trust, hope for Mother Sita, and a command of life for Hanuman. He felt as though Mother Sita's pain from distant Lanka was calling out to him, as if every wave carried the message of her sorrow. Now within Hanuman, it was not only power that had awakened, Ram devotion had awakened, and that devotion had become greater than the ocean. And this was the very moment, before crossing the ocean, Hanuman first remembered his Lord, Shri Ram. He did not call upon strength. He did not awaken pride. He remembered the name of Ram and the holy feet of his Lord. As soon as Ram's remembrance echoed in his heart, every pore of Hanuman awakened. His humility remained, but his power became immense. He was no longer the silent Vanara. He was Mahavir, awakened for Ram's mission, blazing with devotion and unshakable in resolve. Hanuman's form began to expand. The mountain seemed smaller, and the ocean no longer looked as frightening. There was satisfaction in Jambavan's eyes. The despair of the Vanara army had now turned into the sound of victory. Even after such great power awakened within him, no pride arose in Hanuman. First he bowed with humility. His eyes were on the ocean, but his mind was in Shri Ram. That devotion was his direction, his strength, and his wings. From his heart he bowed to Lord Shri Ram, Mother Sita, and Lakshman, and surrendered every fear within him. Now Hanuman steadied his body. The mountain trembled, the trees swayed, as though nature itself wished to witness this moment. Everyone held their breath. There was no doubt left now. The one who would cross the ocean was him, and the one who would complete Ram's mission was also him. But for him, that distance was no longer to Lanka. It was to Mother Sita. And then, holding Ram's name in his heart, Hanuman leapt with tremendous force over the ocean. The same army that had stood in despair now filled the shore with cries of victory. They had understood there is no bridge greater than devotion. Hanuman's speed was extraordinary, but even more extraordinary was his remembrance. Only the name of his Lord was carrying him forward. So the answer is this: before crossing the ocean, Hanuman did not remember his strength. He remembered his Lord Shri Ram. Jambavan reminded him of his power, but the flight in his heart was given by Ram devotion. The secret of this story is this: when a person sees himself as small and the Lord as great, even the impossible begins to become possible. Hanuman teaches us that strength does not awaken outside. It awakens within when the heart becomes filled with Ram's name. This is why Hanuman is not only called Mahabali, the mighty one, but also Mahabhakt, the greatest devotee. For him, every victory begins with remembrance. If this story has touched your heart, pause for a moment and feel this extraordinary devotion of Hanuman within yourself. If you want such sacred and emotional stories to reach more people, then like this video with devotion. Do share it with your family, friends, and fellow devotees, so that the light of Ram devotion may spread even farther. And if you wish to hear more stories filled with Ramayana, Hanuman, and devotion, then subscribe to our channel with a devotional heart. May Pavanputra Hanuman give you the strength, wisdom, and devotion to cross every difficult ocean of your life. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman. We will meet again in the next sacred story.